What if your body has been telling you the truth all along, but you were taught not to listen? In today's episode, we're talking about embodiment, the kind of power that doesn't dominate, but listens. Wren is a boudoir photographer who reclaimed her own relationship with her body, her pleasure, and her boundaries. We talk about growing up with shame around sexuality, why passion without structure leads to chaos. And in this episode, it's an invitation to listen to your body, your emotions, and the quiet intelligence within you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soft Power Project. We have Wren Morrow with us today, and she's a beautiful boudoir photo photographer. And I have to say, she's able to unveil or take away that shame and just really reveal the beauty of our body. And I'm so excited to be talking to her today. Hi, Ren.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
I absolutely fell in love with your photos, and I think you're the first one that really showed me that, wow, boudoir photos can be very different from what I'm used to, what I imagine. And I'm sure, I think you also have this very similar experience. You actually had yours taken before you step into this role as a photographer, right?
Yes, yes. I hired a boudoir photographer in hopes to, learn a lot of tricks of the trade when I got started, and did learn a lot of what I would not be doing.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that the way they make you feel was so uncomfortable, and it was definitely from the perspective of the male gaze, even though the photographer was a female, right?
Mhm. Yes, I felt like it was very much trying to have me look like I belonged on a magazine cover, and I think that magazine covers are female bodies for the male gaze, and so, it's a very vulnerable space to get mostly or all the way naked in front of someone and have them see you, and, you want to feel beautiful, you want to feel sexy, and to have she just made, little comments of my lack of flexibility or needing Botox and things like this where I was like, "Wow, I thought I was gonna feel really good after all this." And the photos were hot for sure, I did look the way that she advertised, but the feeling that I was left with, that the photos became a reminder of, was just this really, really uncomfortable experience, and so, when I started doing it, I really focused on creating an experience for people to feel really beautiful and seen and relaxed and themselves, and then they have a sort of like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe that's me," rather than like, "Well, I better look like that, you bent me sideways and like, did all the work to, make me force me into an image, rather than just moving naturally and realizing how sexy you are just as yourself."
Yeah. It felt like just reading a little bit about your stories and just looking at the photos that you have done for your clients, it really tells me how much you are very comfortable with sexuality and sensuality. So I wanted to start by asking you your own personal journey of embracing your own sexuality.
Mhm. I think it's an ongoing relationship for sure. Our bodies are ever changing, our sexual desires are changing. What it is to, be embodied is always in flux, but my story definitely didn't start from a place of even feeling like I was allowed to be in my body. I was raised, very conservative Christian. My parents homeschooled us to try to keep us protected from the big bad world, and I was informed very young that, it was my responsibility to make sure that I didn't cause my brothers to stumble. by being too sexy and making them want my body, that was my responsibility to make sure that they never fell into temptation. So, the only sort of ownership that I took over my sexuality and my body was very, like, to, like, keep like, "Whoop, don't be able to tell I have boobs, don't be able to tell I have sexual desires, don't be able to tell nothing," like, keep it all, like, wrapped up and super tight and super constrained. And, yeah, it wasn't until I was 24 and I moved to the Pacific Northwest that I started to have a different relationship with my body. I started spending a ton of time outside and spending a ton of time naked outside with my ex-partner, and just not even being in a sexual context. We would have sex outside, but oftentimes we were just, like, playing, just existing, just, like, running around with in our underwear or no clothes and just feeling what it is to just be in your animal body in an animal environment, and I started to just allow my body to exist without being observed or critiqued or needing to be contorted or changed. It just was. I think there's a expression of body neutrality, and I feel like I entered that space first, where it just was like, "Oh, it's a body." And then started to really start to own my sensuality and my ability to take part in what it feels to have a body, all the sensations that are available to us both internally and externally, starting to surround my world with sensations that I enjoy, smells that I enjoy, textures that I enjoy, and that
Mhm.
just sort of led to this way of existing that is a lot more sensual and sexual just because of the fact that I'm like, it just feels good in here," and I just, like, I enjoy pleasure, and I don't
Yeah.
immediately shame it when it comes up, but rather I'm like, it feels good. I like feeling good, and that's okay," rather than I think before having the immediate, like, um, my pleasure was gonna lead to my sinning, which was gonna lead to me being in separation from God, like, w so
Right, right.
I
Yeah.
feel like you mentioned before you have a kinda similar upbringing of needing to keep everything quite suppressed.
Yeah. When we were talking in our chat, and then I was thinking about, okay, so how am I going to talk about my experience? Because I think the problem is that I never thought about it. I never really allowed myself to even think about sensuality. So when you were describing that, I'm like, I've never actually defined that for myself. Never even thought about that. And what does that even look like for me, like sexuality, sensuality, like what does like how do I see it and how did I see it growing up? I think it was a topic that's so hush hush. No one talks about, not even me and my girlfriends. We don't talk about it. And I don't talk about it with my mom, obviously.
Mm,
So I think it's like a very separated thing. Like what I'm experiencing maybe is very different from what other people's experiencing, but we don't share that at all.
mm,
So I think even though where I'm coming from, like I'm from Taiwan, I think a lot of the women here are very modernized, very career forward and westernized in a way. I don't think I talk about this with them. Like it's not something that we just sit down and be like talking about how we see our body. And I think we talk about, like, I think the topic of sex is definitely more talked about, but not like how good we feel in our own
yeah,
body, like how you define that. I think that it's something really missing for sure in my culture. Yeah.
mm. I feel like it would be such an interesting question to just, like, ask, like, what was the last thing you remember
Mm,
really made your senses come online?
mhm.
Like, what was the last, like, shirt you put on or outfit you found or candle you lit? Like, what was the last thing that got your senses, like, or meal you ate. I love food. Like, a meal you ate that just, like, got your senses to come online and feel really embodied.
Mhm. Mhm. I love how the interview's been flipped, by the way.
I got you. No.
I know.
We'll flip it back. We'll
No, no worries. I mean, this is great. I mean, thank you for asking me this because I felt like this would be the conversation that I have if I ask you to be my photographer, right? Because
Mhm,
I feel like this is the exploration that you needed to help your clients to kind of unveiled or uncovered all these feelings. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think I've ever thought about it. I mean, I think, yeah, I love the way cashmere feels on my body. I do feel really good wearing sweaters for some
mhm,
reason, but I think I love the way it feels when I'm not wearing much underneath. And
mhm.
I love how it makes me feel very cozy, but comfortable. And then, yeah, sexy in a way. But it's so funny because I never thought about it. I never even think that that's a question that I can ask myself. So I think it's so amazing that that's something you're able to ask your clients and starts to get them to feel in a different way.
Mhm. And I also think that it's important to note that just because you haven't consciously been thinking about it, doesn't mean that you're not in relationship with that. The fact that you own cashmere is indicative of the fact that you do know that you are liking it and that you're drawn to that. And so while it isn't as much of a like, "Oh, I'm choosing this because I like how this feels in my body," it's not as thought through, and embodiment isn't a thought it's not a thought experiment, it's a felt experience. And
Mm,
so you you are already moving from that space, but I think that it might be really fun to recognize all of the ways that like, "Oh, I'm choosing this because I love this. I'm choosing this because I find pleasure in this. I'm choosing this," and realizing that just because you haven't consciously gone down that road doesn't mean that you're not already on that path.
that is so interesting. It almost feels like we're really taking the headspace away from it, like the logical side, right? Away from this, but really allowing our body and our heart to feel and to dominate the decision. I mean, is that the kind of the right way to describe?
I don't know if it's, like, to dominate it as much as it's just, like, allowing not every decision has to be so logical, and also not every decision has to be so emotional. There's, like, that balance between finding the masculine and the feminine aspects of yourself, and the masculine is more logical, I want the proof, I want to, like, understand the formula of why this makes sense, and then the emotional one is like, "Because I love it, what more do you need from me?" Like, and
Yeah.
letting those both hold each other and pull each other in opposite ways that create, like, structure and, like, create tension that isn't tense, but it makes you feel light. Like, if you're moving with, like, a really, like, straight spine and you're, like your head is pulling upward, your tailbone is pulling downward, there's this way where it starts to not feel like you're, like, holding yourself up so much, but that you're just, like, found in a place of balance that but it did take pulling in both directions to find that balance, but then once you are in it, then it is with ease, and I feel like
Mm,
I'm, like, trying to find that within myself all the time because I will like to go way too gooey sometimes, and it's like, "Okay, cool, well, you can't just only be on, like, a dopamine quest for the rest of your life, like, you do need to have logic, recognize the, like, boundaries and limitations of that, but use those boundaries and limitations to hold the goo, like, and realize, like, okay, you know, maybe it's we could say in, like, budgeting money or something like that. It's like, okay, I'm only allowed to spend $200 a month on something that is just for pleasure, but I do spend that $200 and allow for, like, the fullest experience of that pleasure to take place, and it, like those things, like, hold each other in opposition that keep it sustainable for everything involved.
Wow, I love how you framed that. I never really thought about that because money is definitely like budgeting is definitely a really big topic now, I think for everyone in this day and age, in this economy. Like how do you even do this with pleasure? It's almost like if you're budgeting, then you're restricting all your pleasure, right? I felt like because you mentioned that being in the outdoor, being in nature. I mean, obviously, with your photography, being outdoor in nature is a really big component of that. Do you think being around nature allows you to have that balance and allows you to find that balance more easily?
Hmm. I think that there is like a resonance that exists in nature that isn't as hurried, that isn't as performative, that isn't as rushed. We're already giving ourselves a ton of pleasure, like a hot shower. Like that's something we've only even had that for, 100 years or something like, you know, but we're hurrying through it so fast that we don't actually realize how pleasurable it is. And so then we're seeking like more and we need more and more and more. In the same way, I think that the quietness of nature kind of allows for true desires to reveal themselves. And so all of it, it's not so much that I feel like it helps me balance those 2 as it just kind of recalibrates my frequency into a state of slowness and alignment. When I slow down, I immediately feel more pleasure. Just slowing it down a little bit. When I am allowing stillness to occupy a lot of space for me, then I don't need to, like, constantly fill it, I'm not constantly needing another thing to immediately take the place. It's, like, actually, like, allowing that stillness to just recalibrate. I guess it does allow for it, but it's from, like, a recalibration.
Mm, that really gets me to start to think because even when you're talking about it, I can feel that you're really allowing yourself to be more grounded and think of an answer that's coming from your heart and in a more balanced way. Like I can definitely feel that. I think that's how you communicate. It's from this very balanced, not just your head, not it's like the combination of
Mm,
both.
I'm trying.
And no, I can definitely feel it. And it's so beautiful because we were talking about sensuality, sexuality, and then we were talking about the balance. And I think it's something that we don't really think about is that when we're really digging into our sensuality and allowing our body to feel and to allow ourselves to take pleasure, I think we're reconnecting many different part of us that can allow that balance to happen more naturally. Because I think a lot of times when masculine energy is really dominating everything, I'm always thinking about what do I do next, the
Mhm.
do. What kind of skills I need to acquire and what sort of, money goal that I need to hit. But at the end of the day, it's really exhausting. Wondering like what's your journey through that? Because I remember you mentioned a little bit about having that aspiration, that financial goals and aspiration before, but then now you're fully committed to doing photography. What's your journey like?
Well, I should specify I'm committed to artistry because I am doing other art things besides photography. I'm actually, like, on the peninsula right now doing an interior design project, which is very fun, but I don't believe balance is a static place that we arrive at. I think we are in a constant dance with the universe, with ourselves, with our evolution, with our environments. It is, you know, when you are in a new friend situation and nobody's talking and everyone's, like, awkward, the balance of that is to be, like, "Hey, guys, like, what's going on?" Like, to bring the energy because everything's all quiet, and in the same time, if everything is super
Mm,
loud and super chaotic, the balance is to, like, not just contribute to more noise, but actually, like, sit in a little bit of stillness. And so this balance is not a place that we arrive at. It's feeling this push and pull, this tug, this dance, this opportunity to be in a responsive relationship to our environments. And so I think that pleasure ends up being a gateway to embodiment because it feels good. And when something feels good, it's a lot easier to be embodied. But embodiment is a tool to navigate your environment with precision to understand how you're being impacted by the energy that is around you, whether it is people or environmental or your own emotional landscape. When you are in a place of embodiment and listen and deep listening to the feeling of being inside of yourself, you can, "Oh, interesting, my chest suddenly got very tight. Why is my chest tight right now? Is it am I scared? Am I" it's normally fear for me. "Oh, my chest gets tight. Oh, like, am I trying to hide myself? Am I embarrassed by something I just said? Did somebody in here make me feel uncomfortable?" And so it just becomes like, "Oh, I'm, like, tingly here. Oh, this makes me feel, like, giddy. Oh, this makes me feel warm and cozy." This the primary feeling of the embodied experience is either a softening or a tightening. We're either, like, softening and opening because we enjoy a thing and we want to move closer to it, or we are constricting and, "Yeet, ooh, I want to be further from that thing." And pleasure is a really great way of starting to understand your baseline of feeling open and feeling like something is a
mhm,
yes, that I am, like, drawn towards this. And then you that becomes data for you to be inside of your body and realize, like, "Oh, this doesn't make me feel open and soft and good. This makes me feel a little like, and why what is making me feel tight here?" And it could just be your own outdated programming. Well, because you're like, "I should, these are amazing people. This is an amazing opportunity. Like, why is it that I feel tight?" And it's like, "Oh," for example, because I was just talking about this interior thing. So these are friends of mine who have a spare or like a guest room that they want me to redesign into like an enchanted fairy forest design. Right up my alley. Couldn't be more perfect. I love interior decorating. I love creating immersive spaces. It's winter, so not as many people are wanting to take photos outside, so it's a great, like, mistress art thing where I stay in the world, but I don't have to. And so anyway, seems like a dream opportunity, and yet moving towards it, I was getting so much anxiety. There was tightness. I was feeling so tight in my like, along my collarbones and in my heart, and I couldn't tell what it was. And at first, I did the thing where I pathologized myself, and I said, "Ugh, what's wrong with you? Why don't you wanna take this is a perfect opportunity and you don't wanna go for it. What's wrong with you?" Well, I just stayed a little curious about the sensation and realized, "Oh, well, I don't actually fully understand the limitations of this arrangement." I don't exactly know. There was, like it was very dreamy. It was very like, "Oh, yeah, do whatever you want. You could stay however long you want." And I was like, "Actually, that's not really safe for either of us. I can't stay however long I want. That's a beautiful sentiment, but I can't
mm,
stay here till I'm 75. Like, let's put some boundaries on it. Let's put some constraint on it." And so we worked out a really beautiful contract where we actually put the stipulations of what it was that they were offering, what it was that I was offering, how we would know we got there, how we would separate if we realized we were never gonna get there, how to preserve our friendship regardless of what happens, what happens if I don't do anything? What happens if I get out to here and I realize I just need to sleep for 3 months because it's been a rough chapter, like what and we mapped all of that out, and then suddenly the tightness, like, dissipated, and I could move into this, like, with an open, soft heart, and so the embodiment
Right.
is more than just about understanding pleasure, but realizing that you have an incredible companion that you are stuck inside of that is giving you so much data to understand your environment and if you are safe or if you are not safe, if you desire a thing, if you do not desire a thing, and where you fall on it. And then if you listen to it and don't pathologize it and don't shove it down, don't push through it, but actually like, okay, what is this tightness trying to show me? I feel like now we are in this arrangement that feels really good, really healthy, really beautiful and supported rather than just like, "Yes, amazing, we love each other, let's do a beautiful thing," and it's like, okay, we still have all that energy, but we created the structure that we all are safe through it, and that is like that's what I'm talking about where I'm like, "Oh, it's all the gooey amazingness, and it's the structure and the how we hold it," and having those 2 things work together is just but I don't know how to describe it except for, yes, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for using that example because I think when people talk about the word embodiment, again, I don't think about it enough to actually understand what that actually means to me. But you're using an example where everyone can understand. Because a lot of times in a work situation, we feel uncomfortable, but we don't know why. And a lot of times, I think definitely previously, I never ask myself why I feel so uncomfortable. I kind of
Mm,
just went along with it. But obviously, so much resentment will be caused and
yep.
a lot of, just burnout, everything. And then I had to go and be like, okay, I need to stop and really trying to find out exactly what happened. But exactly what you said, if you just listen to your body, it's giving you data and it's giving you information, what you need. That just, I think everyone right now absolutely need to do that. And it doesn't really matter what kind of situation. I love that so much. And I wanted to ask a follow-up question is that because you mentioned this like both sides, right? Just you have the pure passion, you want to do this, you're motivated, but then you also need this boundaries and
Mhm.
constraint to kind of hold both part. Gosh, I think that's incredibly important and often missed. Why do you think we need both things to exist? I mean, obviously, I've seen a lot of examples where when that's not in place, disaster can happen. Have you had experience where you kind of lean into either or, and then you had
My
this
goodness.
resentment or things that happened that you did not wanted to go back to?
Girl, do I ever. I feel like I had a really rough one this summer, which is why my body was so screaming at me. I had a lover in Canada this past summer that we felt really aligned in so many ways. He's an arborist, he raises chickens, lives in this, like, beautiful town in British Columbia, it's mountains, there's fresh water, it's amazing, like, it's so dreamy, everything's so dreamy, he's like, "Come, stay with me, I've got you, like, as you figure it out," and, like, understand like, I'm not a Canadian citizen, I would need to figure out how to, like, get my photography, like, am I still going back to the States? Am I finding people here? We being paid under the table? What's the situation? You know, all these things. And it was just, we just ran headlong, girl. Nobody asked any follow-up questions. And suddenly I am really far along in my trauma journey, like unraveling my own trauma, that typically I do get triggered often, but I'm really good at like holding myself down, holding the trigger, communicating on behalf of me and my activated self. Like I feel like I truly have like a liaison. I'm like, hello, right now I'm not doing well. I'm gonna need some space. I'm gonna need some grapes or something. You know, like I don't know what I'm gonna need, but like I typically can hold both. I could not hold anything. I haven't been that activated. I don't even know the last time I was that activated. And I was so like buzzing. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't advocate for myself. He's like, what the heck has gone wrong? Like I've I was your Prince Charming. I like saved you from the United States during this like shit show that y'all are in. I'm bringing you to Canada to this amazing thing. Like why do you have anything other to say, anything but gratitude, unending gratitude for me? And I'm like, I don't know. Looking back on it, it was like, well, we never talked about the limitations. What happens if I can't find work for 6 months? Who's paying my phone bill while I'm out here? Okay, I can live in your house for free, but for how long? Are your roommates okay with that? Who's paying for our groceries? What happens for, there was no understanding of the like actual logistics, the actual structure that holds something. Like the only reason we are able to have this big, juicy, beating heart and fluid lymphatic system of emotions and chaos and wonder is because we've got a spine and a rib cage that like holds this thing upright, holds it together, keeps it protected. A big juicy heart with no rib cage, like we can't function without that. And so the bones, the structure, yes, they need to have some flexibility to them. No, they're not supposed to be made of concrete. Like our bones are sturdy, but they are porous and they can bend, like these things. But without any structure, we're just literally like no bones. You're just gonna be a jellyfish. Like that's not, that's not the way. And we can't go anywhere like that. We are completely, to lean into that jellyfish analogy, if we are just our emotional gooey body, like the jellyfish cannot, he has a little bit, but he's mostly just going where the ocean takes him, where the waves decide he needs to go. And we will be completely at the mercy of all of the emotional waves that come and go if we don't have something that like holds us strong and holds us together. And it's really hard, I think, to be in a feminine body in a patriarchal society where the masculine has gone so uh, off kilter in ways I do not respect, that I do not admire, that I want nothing to do with. And look at that and realize I do need some of what the masculine energy has to offer. I do need some of that, like, willingness to make moves, some of that sturdiness to say no, some of that like grounded, like firm, steadfast energy. I do need that. And trying to like reach in through the patriarchal bullshit and like pull out the parts that are not the toxic masculinity, but that are because this thing has gotten out of hand. It's like, I want the thing. I will force my way into having the entire world at my disposal, and I'll be able to rip all the fucking nutrients out of it and anything I want, and not have to listen to anything, not be swayed by anyone's emotions or anyone's pleas and cries for like, ow, this hurts, I'm dying. Like, we're not listening to Mother Nature at all. We're just, and it's like, okay, that is not it. But there is we do need some of that energy. And so like, it's really hard because I want to just be the gooey jellyfish, and there's part of me that feels like the gooey jellyfish is the overcorrection, and it's like, okay, how do we pull towards that, but then grab a little bit of the correct masculine energy to
Yeah.
hold it upright so that it doesn't just like
Mhm.
total goo.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I have so many questions. I completely, absolutely agree with what you're saying. And I mean, the first thing that came into my head is how interesting. I felt like I've lived probably 3, 4 decades of my life on the other side of that spectrum, which is just rigidity, structure, do more, don't relax, do more, and productivity, efficiency is the way to
Mhm.
go. And obviously that did not work. Again, to mirror what you're saying, we absolutely need both. And and you were talking about this necessary masculinity, the non-toxic one, the one that holds it together to give more structure. And I wonder if that is just something that gives women more safety in order for us to be more feminine, because we do need that room, right? To
Mhm.
have that really safety structure, scaffolding so that we can move within that. That's kind of, I think I reflect a lot over the past year, but I feel like that's absolutely necessary for us. I don't know if that resonate with you.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, if I'm left to only my feminine devices, it's a good time for sure, but it's not a very productive time, and it's not a very, like, I love being in partnership with a man who is in his, like, secure masculine energy, and, like, he's got a direction, and I feel like he's on main quest, I'm on side quest, he's on making sure, like, we get out the door, I'm on making sure we have all the cozy blankets for once we make it to wherever we're going, like, that, like, tug of both. And I've been single now, I mean, obviously since the summer, and with that situation it blew up, and I've been single since, and I was single for a long time before that, and just trying to recognize the fact that we do have access to both of those energetic centers within ourselves, and being able to call on who's needed for the task at hand, and not letting either one run the show all the time, but letting them both speak and both have their place, and both be honored. 'Cause the feminine wants to be like, "Why what do you mean we have somewhere to be at some time? What's time? What do you mean, babe? So the sun is shining. Like, we're gonna go play by the river." Like, and it's just, like, lost in the play, just wanna play all day, no worries, I was made to frolic, and then there are limitations. This physical body needs to eat, which in this society means I need to either own lands, which cost money, to be able to grow food, or have money to buy food, so, like, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that. I'm gonna have to figure out how to, move my body. Like, this body is only gonna take me as far as I, like, challenge it to take me. If I lay around all day, it's gonna forget how to run, so I have to, like, show up with, like, some discipline. And coming from an incredibly abusive childhood, it's been really hard for me to see discipline and structure and boundaries as safety rather than punishment. It's been really hard because it was overdone in a way that my young self, like, just rebelled against any concept of boundaries. Like, I'm like, "How dare you tell me what I must do? No, you shan't. Like, I won't be told nothing." And now the adult that I'm rebelling against is me, and the person who has to pay my car bill. And I'm like, wait, hold on. We're not fighting the enemy anymore. This is me. Like, it's you and me, babes. And so, like, just trying to get everybody on the same page within myself, the rebellious parts of me, the playful parts, the disciplined parts, the strong parts, the soft parts, like, just being able to create space for all of these aspects of self and give them each the opportunity to be the shining star of the moment. Like, when I wake up on the time I wanted to wake up and I show up on time and prepared and all the things, I'm like, "Yes! Structure! You're the best!" You know? And then, like, "Now you go take a nap because we're gonna go, paint watercolors." You know? And so just, like, letting everybody everybody have their chance. And when we're talking about balance, it's not like for me, it's like giving each aspect of self its, like, moment within to be kind of in charge of the levers. I'm imagining that movie, like,
Mhm.
Inside Out, like, where, like, everybody's, like, on there. It's like, okay, giving
Yeah.
somebody the giving everybody the chance to drive the Wren car around, um, and know that no one aspect of myself is allowed to, like, take us too far, you know? It's like the balance is giving everyone a chance.
I love how you can paint a picture. You're an artist for sure. I love that. It's so cute. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think every one of us has so many different part, and just like you said, in adulthood, we're our own enemy or we're our own ally. We're just gonna have to get them all to work
Mhm.
together, but by honoring each and every one of them. I never really thought about that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm just like having so many like imagery now playing in my head. And I think that's why you're so good at making women feel so beautiful. Like your photos, like I have never seen a boudoir photo like that before because it was from this your perspective of hoping that everyone feels so comfortable and celebrating every part of them. And it makes a huge difference. I mean, let's just say you have a client now come to you, someone like me, I would definitely lean more towards the rigidity, the logic, even though I have a lot of like feminine side in me, but I was never quite comfortable with that part. How would you make me feel comfortable being in nature and just letting my body feels good? Like, what's that process like for you?
I feel like for everyone, it's really different. There's a
Mm.
certain look that people get on their faces when they are like, "Oh, is this allowed? Is this" you know, like, it's almo I liken it to, like, a blooming flower. You can, like, see it, like, "Oh!" And it's really, there's no formula to it. It's really looking and paying attention to the person and, you know, how to make them laugh, how to make them relax is reading their body and reading their face and seeing when it comes out, and then when you see it's like a little spark, you just kinda, like, fan that flame. I feel like from the little bit of interaction I've had with you, we would really start by just no camera whatsoever. Like, just, like, put the camera away and just, like, I would just get out there, like, with you and, like, let's go find a nice, like, place to sit and just, like, chat for a bit and, like, really, like like, get all the, like, nerves out. I think it's really important to you're saying and when we were saying, like, oh, like, let all of the aspects have their chance to be seen. That includes the anxious ones. That includes the nervous ones. That includes the one that is for sure gonna look really awkward on camera. Like, let's just go ahead, come on, babes, look awkward on camera. get weird, make a silly face, make a dumb face. Ah! And just like literally like allow yourself to be the exact thing you're afraid of being. Okay, cool, we did that. So now we can do something else. Because if you spend the whole time, and I feel the sense I get from you is that you would spend a lot of the time really trying to control and make sure the part of you that was uncomfortable or stiff or shy or whatever, like never that she didn't come out, that she didn't ruin the shoot. And so you would be subconsciously fighting with her the whole time, and so then she would subconsciously be, like, forcing herself into the thing because she just like, there's nothing wrong with looking awkward in a photo. I take, like, 1,000 photos, and I only give the people, like, 70 because it's it's not like I'm catching movement. I'm trying to catch that little like, whoop, like, how did we, like, accidentally look so perfect right then without trying? Because for me, as soon as I start to over direct someone, of course, I wanna, like, give a little bit of, you know I will go and I'll, like, demonstrate. I'll find a zone that I'm like, "Oh, okay, the light's really good here. This looks really soft," and I'll typically have, like, some music going, and I will, like, show a little bit, like, what we might could do with our hands, what we do with our play with our hair, whatever, and give them the chance to, like, move through that space. Because if I go in, I've watched this happen so many times that I start to like, "Oh, wait, would you put your hand right here? Wait, no, go back." And I'll watch them leave their body and all the energy goes into their head and they're like concentrating. They're like, "Wait, is this right? Is this right?" And suddenly they look like a robot. I'm like, "There's no life in that arm anymore. Where are," and I'm like, "No, forget it. Shake that off. Let's we'll try again later." Because I'm not worried about if we'll get the moment. I don't put time limits on my shoots because I don't want someone to be like, "Oh my god, I only have an hour and a half to look the sexiest I've ever looked in my whole life." Okay, action! That just seems really stressful to me. I am like,
Mhm.
I know that given enough space, given enough cheerleading, given enough, like, relief of pressure and gentle invitation that your body knows how to experience pleasure. Your body knows how to feel beautiful. Your body knows how to sink into the moment and be worshiped. Like your body knows how to do all of those things. And so I'm not teaching you anything new. I'm just giving you space to remember. So, yeah, I would start with just a little conversation, a little like observing the environment, being like, wow, this is so cool. And where are we? And what the heck? And shake out the nerves and make the goofy faces and let out a whatever to get the anxiety out.
Yeah.
And then kind of start to slip into something that feels a bit more embodied and sexy.
Yeah. First of all, I think you already know who I am, just the way you describe things. You got it.
I'm pretty good at reading people. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you are. You are. I can already see myself like getting very awkward, very in my head, like, oh my God, I gotta do this. I gotta be sexy. I gotta be beautiful. I want to come out looking so good. And then feeling so cringy and awkward at the same time, exactly like you said. But I'm trying to control that part of me while doing so. Oh my goodness. I feel like going through a photo session with you is like going through 10 sessions of therapy or even more, or like a whole year of therapy.
I cannot confirm or deny the exact ratio of sessions, but I
Right.
can confirm that people feel different on the other side, which
Uh,
sometimes the single therapy session doesn't do. And I think that there's something my truest belief is that we, in our heart of hearts and our soul of souls, know how to be well. It is our default to be well, to be whole, to be radiant, to be powerful and feel like we are a gift to the universe, to feel like our existence matters. I feel like that is our default setting. And there's just a whole bunch of whatever that gets like gummed up the works. And so I just try to honor the it's almost like calling something by its name and like making it remember that it was that thing. Like I'm like, "Oh my good," like you call something beautiful and it's just like, "Wait, me? Oh my goodness, you knew that about me? Like, you know my real name? You know my true name." Like, it's almost like this, like, calling of something's, like, true name that, like, reminds it, and this thing was dormant and it forgot to has been answering to all these other things for so long that it, like, forgot and it, like, forgets itself. And you have somebody who comes in and is like, "I like, you, the truth of you, the radiance of you." It's like, that's why I want the radiance of you to, like, come forth. And, like, you call to her and she's like, "Wait, you remembered that that's who I am? You remembered that I'm her?
Oh.
Oh my goodness, I would love to hang out with you." And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's I don't try to spend too much time with as much trauma and everything that I've been through. I try not to spend too much time like digging into it. I want to honor it, I want to know it, but there's this, like, circumnavigated way where it's like the root of the thing is still good, and sometimes I feel like healing modalities can be so focused on all the ways that we're bad and that we're twisted, that we just, like, keep feeling like we're twisted, we're just, like, engaging with the twistedness of ourselves rather than just, like, just remember your aligned goodness and be, that.
Mm.
And, like and the twist will unravel naturally. Like, if you activate your, like, core of who you are, then the other stuff kind of, like, it loses its power, it loses its potency. It's the continuing to, like, feed it and acknowledge it, and I come from all this, I'm all these broken ways because I did this and because of this, and it's like, I don't know, dude. I sorry, I'm going on a little
Yeah.
rant, but
No, oh gosh, I agree with you because a lot of times I think when people feel like, oh, I have a lot to heal, I need to be healing, and it seems like we're perpetually on this journey of just healing and healing because we spot all these different issues that we have. But I think what you're saying is that we have that, we already whole somewhere. We just have to find it and really highlight that part of it. And I think that's what you're doing with your work is that you're also focusing on bringing that from the others and also using your kindness, your compassion, what you've learned to really do that, incorporate that in your work. And yeah, I mean, that's to me, that's beyond therapy because that's you're celebrating the person for who they are
yeah,
authentically. And
yes.
yeah, I really have to thank you for doing what you do. And I think my goal is to definitely have a photo session, photography session with you. That's my goal. That's my goal in life.
I would be so honored. Oh my goodness, that'd be such a treat. I yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
we'll figure it out. I don't
yeah,
know. I come to you, you
we'll
come to
figure
me,
it
we'll
out.
figure it out. We meet somewhere in the middle we
We'll
neither of
figure
us
it
have
out.
been.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I mean, I love having this conversation with you, but I do want to ask you this question, and I ask every single guest, is your definition of soft power.
Feel like if it could be a single word, it would be listening. Everything that I talk about, embodiment, everything when I think of the feminine energy, she's receptive, but that receptivity doesn't mean much if you're not also, like, listening to it, and so just having a body that's able to receive so much, is data, but to truly listen to that is when we have power, where we can see what it is we need, what it is our friends need, what it is our community needs, what it is that the moment is calling for, and listening intently enough to be a harmony with that, a beautiful contribution rather than a loud voice that just talks over people or forces itself on anything, but that deep listening is how yeah, I think that that is the softest power that there is.
Wow. I I feel like and that really mirrored my career actually. My previous career was to teach people how to communicate
Mm,
and how do you be more confident and authoritative. I teach working professionals how to do that. And since then I have taken a step back because exactly what you said, listening really is the most powerful thing. And the thing is with listening is that it's hard to teach. It's really
mhm,
difficult. I think you have to be at a certain point of your life where you're allowing yourself to open up and start to listen and start to take in all the information and not to judge, right?
mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Oh my
and
goodness.
yeah, and I think I'm still learning how to do that.
Probably forever. I feel like it's a thing that in awe at how little listening I still do. I'm "Girl, you love to talk, don't you?" And I'm like "I'm so excited, I just wanna" and it's like, "Okay, cool, for sure. What are you listening for, though? Like, where are your good ears? You have good ears, you know? 2
Yeah,
ears, 1
yeah,
mouth."
yeah. That's so
As
true. We
I'm
do have
on
to.
my as I'm on my, like I've been on so many podcasts lately, like, where I'm just talking so much, but yeah, the listening.
But, I feel like as I'm talking to you and I do feel the radiance even inside of me during this whole conversation. And I know that the listener can feel that too. And I want everyone to feel that way. So I'm going to leave your contact information in the show notes. Is there anything that you would like to say to the listener if they would like to give this a try?
Oh my goodness, I'd be so delighted. Please let me know. I am always open to just having a quick chat, a quick conversation. If there was something that resonated with you, even if you're not looking to book a shoot right now, I know it's a strange time to be doing anything. So if there's something that like resonated that you just want to like have a quick little chat with me or ask me a question directly, there's a link for that on my website as well. But if you're interested in working with me, I do travel, and my inquiry form is on my website, which is wrenmorrow.com, WREN MORROW. And the sporadic thoughts from within my brain that are sometimes on brand and sometimes are not is can be found on my Instagram, which is @_Wren Morrow.
Yeah, absolutely go check it out. I think it's definitely on brand. I would say 100% on brand. And it's beautiful. I love your content. Love
Mhm.
your content. And I kept saying, you have to make a movie about yourself. Please do.
I've been my friends I'm working for right now were like I was telling them like the saga of my love stories recently, and they were just like, "You should write a book, and each chapter is just like, the one person's name, like, because I've had these, like, ridiculous love stories, and it's been a long time coming to write a book, and I feel like with AI or I feel like I can just talk and it would be transcribed. It seems like there's probably never been an easier time to get the thoughts all the way. Because like, sitting at the computer can be really daunting to write, but if I could just talk and it's like even my notes app will transcribe, I'm like, "Girl, what is taking you so long? Just do the thing." But we'll see.
Ex Yeah. Oh, well, I'm very excited, and please share with us the interior decoration that you're doing because that definitely sounds like a dream. Thank you so much for being on this podcast and having this conversation with me.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me. This has been such a treat.